everyone, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Jennifer DeGuillio, who is a wife, mother of 4, and a health coach who specializes in ketogenic living, nutrition, health, and wellness. She has coached hundreds of women who have successfully sustained a healthy lifestyle. Jennifer loves sharing knowledge and helping others. She's a passionate person who will go to the extra mile and over-deliver. When an iatrogenic illness to benzodiazepines took her by surprise, she used this same healthy lifestyle and positive attitude to approach her taper. She is proof not everyone has to suffer when tapering a benzodiazepine. This is going to be a very interesting interview. Please stay tuned after the interview for our post-show talk. Thank you. Welcome, Jennifer. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today because to meet somebody like you who's so positive in their tapering is truly a blessing. And we met at the Berkshire International Film premiere of As Prescribed. So why don't you just tell us the question that you stood up and asked, which my ears just kind of, went right up when you asked that question, if you can remember it.
First of all, thank you for having me. And yes, the question that I asked was, I'm getting lower in my dose. I'm tapering. And I wanted to know, what should I expect? Is things going to go downhill? Because I have heard from so many people that the lower you go, the worse you get. So that was my question.
Right. And my answer, I turned around and I had said, that's not true because there are so many that actually get better as they get lower. And, some of them, they're just not on the groups all the time because they get off of the groups because it's affecting them too much.
Right.
And I think when you and I talked, you mentioned also, having to get away from the group sometime. But let's go to the beginning. What led you to be put on a benzodiazepine?
I was going through a divorce. I had to move into my parents' house with my 4 children. And on top of the stress of the divorce and the stress of living with my parents, I am a caregiver to my 4 kids, and my daughter is type 1 diabetic, and a lot of stress of many years of stress. And basically, I just wasn't feeling right, I guess. And I just went to my primary care for a checkup, and next thing I know, she was prescribing this and saying, take this. This will help you with the stress. This will help, this is a protocol that, I usually give my patients that have similar experiences. And yeah, that was basically it. I had no idea anything about a benzo or anything
And
like
which one did she give you and how much? How often did she tell you to take it?
Initially, it was 1 milligram Xanax, and it was 1 per day. And she told me not to miss any days, to take it every day.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and is it helping you initially? Do you feel like something isn't right? How long do you take it before you even wonder if this is drugs?
Well, honestly, I was taking it as prescribed, and I really didn't pay any attention to it. It was making me a little tired, and my concern was, 24/7, I was taking care of my daughter, with her type 1 diabetes, checking her blood sugar. She's very brittle diabetic. So basically, I had forced insomnia for, total of 17 years, forced insomnia. But at that point, I had to, still be up. I allowed myself, I got like 0 to 3, 4 hours of sleep per night. So anyway, it was making me tired, the medication. So I was concerned that, gosh, what will happen if I accidentally sleep through a high blood sugar, a low blood sugar, something, DKA. Yeah, so that's when the doctor told me, take it in the morning instead of night. So that's what I did, and it seemed, I was tired. It made me really tired. But I don't know. I really, to be honest with you, I was just going with the flow. I was a very busy, active mom, and I really didn't have time for me to focus on me and taking care of myself and how to be in tune with exactly how I was feeling.
Right. So you just keep pushing through and taking the
Right.
pills and
Yeah.
yeah, like most mothers, and only
Hmm.
you've got the added stress of with your daughter with the diabetes.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So now, and you're also at this time you're a health coach, right? So you're
Not at that
working
time.
not at
No.
that time. Okay.
Mm-mm. Mhm.
So when do things change in your life?
In what aspect?
In sense of, okay, you're on the benzodiazepine, you've got the 4 kids. At
Mhm.
what point do you realize at some point you've got to get off?
Well, there's a lot of in-betweens,
Yeah,
but
I'm
fat
looking at I'm looking at
yeah,
all the in between. So it's like,
right.
however you want to get that all in there so people get an understanding.
Okay.
And let's just say I have a very bad, I'm just getting, well, I don't even want to say I'm getting over COVID because I'm still
Mhm.
sick
Yeah,
day
yeah,
12. So I am going to be a little congested through this whole thing. So
yeah.
why don't you fill in the blanks so that we can get to the
Yeah,
end, because the end is, I want everybody to hear how positive Jennifer is.
right.
She's the most positive person that if we could
Thanks.
just bottle that up, we'd all
Thank
make a
you.
fortune. So, all right, so you do the in between.
No problem. Um, I will say that, I would skip fast forward to, like, a couple months after I was put on this medication. I went to a friend's house and slept over,
Mhm,
and, her and I went to the diner, in the morning, and I didn't take my medication because I really didn't pay any attention, like, I was having a good time with my friend, and, I'll never forget, I all of a sudden, I just became incredibly dizzy, cold, shaking,
mhm,
very similar to what my daughter describes with a low blood sugar.
mhm,
Um, but I actually started getting dizzy where I was going to pass out. So she helped me to the bathroom, and I just could not even stand. And I was like I was going through the motions of wanting to throw up. And I was shaking. I'll never forget that. I know I didn't initially tell you that, but I just thought of that now.
mhm,
And when she took me back to her house, um, I was like, "Give me my purse, give me my purse." And I literally just took a nibble of the medication because I was like, maybe something, this will help me. And it was like probably 15 minutes later, it was like I was cured. I felt like, wow.
mhm,
Um, so, I kind of starting, I guess I made a little bit of a connection. Like the medication made me feel better, but I still didn't know it would make me feel worse, down the road.
right.
But yeah, and that was, like I said, that was a very short time after I was prescribed the medication. So it didn't take long at all. Um, but as far as fast forward, in 2012, I moved with my children, and I moved to, at the time, my boyfriend's house. He invited us to, move in. Um, and I was still taking the medication and, doing my thing, and things were getting better. But, I was having problems with, memory. I was having problems with sometimes, flying off the handle I was very tired too and agitated because I never slept, still taking care of my daughter 24/7.
Mhm,
So um, basically, you know, I wasn't feeling good. Well, I mean, I was happy, but I wasn't feeling good. I was always at the doctor's. I was always sick. Never finding out really what was wrong with me. Test after test,
yep.
being
Chasing the
back.
mysterious illness.
Right. And of course, every doctor that I saw wanted to give me something. Let's give you an antidepressant. Let's give you sleeping pills. And I'm like, no, I can sleep. If you snapped your fingers, I could fall asleep. It's not that I can't. I had forced insomnia. I was taking care of my daughter. So these doctors always thought like I had insomnia because, you know, I had insomnia, but no, not that way. It was forced, and so I kept myself awake. But
Mhm,
yeah, they were so quick to, "Let's give you Ambien, let's give you this."
mhm. I
Um,
saw in my notes that you took hydroxyzine and it didn't work, but you took 1 dose of gabapentin and had to call an ambulance.
yes,
Wow.
yes. It was horrible. Um, Actually, yeah, my heart rate shot up. I was having some breathing difficulties. Um, I was breathing, but it wasn't an anxiety attack or panic attack. In fact, when the paramedics had come, they had said, oh, that's a terrible medication. How much did you take? I was like, I only took 100 milligrams. I was told I could take up to 600 milligrams. But yeah, bad experience. I never took it again, tossed it. In fact, after I had surgery, which I'll get to, the neurosurgeon wanted me to take 900 milligrams of that. And I told her, that is an evil drug. I am never taking that again.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, so, down the road, I'm living here with my children. Things are going well. Physically, I'm not really doing that well, in and out of doctors. Nobody really knows what's wrong. And fast forward more so, 2017, I ended up wanting to lose weight. I had gained over that period of time a lot of weight from not sleeping. Doctors told me my metabolism was, very slow from not sleeping, not getting proper sleep. I wasn't eating like bad stuff. It's just that my body was changing. So at that time, I started a ketogenic diet in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first year, I had lost 96 pounds.
Wow.
And yeah, and I started feeling great. I started having energy. Even on 3-4 hours of sleep, I was having some energy and, feeling a lot better in the area of no longer being lethargic. The brain fog had lifted, things like that. But at the same sense I was helping people, I still had to take care of my daughter all night. And to keep myself awake, I was helping those in a type 1 diabetic community, like parents of children with type 1. And I was helping people that wanted to lose weight. It initially worked out. Like I was posting on my Facebook, hey, I lost 10 pounds, 20 pounds. And how are you doing that? I was keto. And then got to the point where, oh no, don't talk about keto anymore. Don't want to hear it. So, my friends are like, hey, why don't you make a private group? And then at that point I made a group called Keto Incognito. And I ended up with 2 to 4 friends. And then by the end of the week I had 800 members and 1,000,
Wow.
2,000, 3,000. So yeah. And during that time I was helping others, and it was really rewarding to me to see, others lose weight and get healthy and things like that. And I decided at that time to get certified. And I became certified at first certified ketogenic living coach, and then a health coach and a life coach and fasting coach. And it just kind of escalated. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. But fast forward to then 2020. In 2020, I was, when the pandemic started, and I was very stressed. Had the kids home and not feeling well again. I was back to not just sleepy and tired. I was feeling sick. Can't really describe exactly every detail, but dizzy spells. I don't know, pains, unexplained pains. And the memory was getting worse. So anyway, I decided April of 2020, I was no longer going to work with people. I wanted to, get myself, it was time for me. My daughter was going to be going to college now. We made an agreement, like, you're going to take care of yourself. Like, you have to, we have to have a backup plan. And I got to take care of myself. So that's where it kind of began. And I was like, all right. And I stopped working with others and I started working on me 100%. Because like before that, it was like 24/7, sitting down and working around the clock. And, again, it was during the pandemic. So I was, out of sorts. Everybody, I think, was out of sorts,
Right. But at
wasn't
what point now you hurt your back as we
right.
come into the pandemic? Is that now as you're under all this
Yeah.
stress? How does
So
that happen?
yeah, so now I stopped working and it's all about me and, to get myself back to health. And I just went into full, moves of working out without like stretching, without
Mm,
the high impact, you know, exercise. And I was like, boom, it's like I hurt myself and it went from pain to not being able to walk and literally being bedridden to having an ambulance take me. And then from being taken to the hospital, I was admitted and I had emergency surgery and I was there for about 8 days. And actually, it was 8 days. And then
and the surgery, because you really hurt your back, did you do something to one to the discs? What happened?
yeah, they said from sitting for that long period of time, during the pandemic when I was working, my discs were compressed, the high impact of the exercise, there was like, there was a broken bone fragment that was lodged and entwined in my
Mm,
sciatic nerve.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then, I had, herniations and bulging discs, and yeah, so basically, it was all that combined.
Okay, so now 8 days in the hospital, surgery, more
Mhm.
drugs. What are they giving you, and how are you responding to that
Ugh,
with with the
nightmare.
Xanax?
What a nightmare. Well, I do wanna say, I in the hospital, I didn't even think of it or know anything about it, but at the time, besides having me on morphine and Dilaudid, they had me on everything, including I found out Ambien. But I didn't sleep. I actually was wide awake. I did not sleep the whole entire time I was in a hospital. And what I found out was they removed 1 milligram. See, that's where we kind of left off. I was now up to 3 milligrams of Xanax
Hmm.
at the time. And
Okay.
it had nothing to do with tolerance. It had to do with there was a period of time in 2018, 19 that I was having severe, true insomnia now, um, where it wasn't forced insomnia. It was, I was having going through menopause. So it was a lot of change and a lot of also stress in my life too. So, that's where the hydroxyzine came in.
Hmm.
Um, that didn't work, and the gabapentin. So we tried other things first before increasing the Xanax. And at the time, it was just like, all right, go up to two, go up to 2.5, go up to three. Three seemed to work. So that's how three came about. So now in the hospital, I found out they were only giving me two. And the whole time I was there, I was on two. And again, I didn't know any difference, but kind of like looking back at it now, it
Hmm.
kind of makes sense because I had severe insomnia and I was having, they said, what was it? Uh, Psychosis. I was having all these things happen to me. I was seeing flashing lights. It was horrible, but I think the combination of all the medications they had me on too, and then
Right.
not sleeping.
Right. Hmm.
So, yeah, when I came home, I was in a hospital bed for a year in my family room. Life was just going by, and I was still on medication. They had me on, you know, opioids, and I was on muscle relaxers. And the doctor at the time, I think it was probably 2 months after the surgery, I was I was told, go back up to the 3 milligrams of Xanax because that seems to help you for pain. And I'm like, well, no, this helps. It's a little bit better. No, no, no. That's how we treat, your condition is a combination of the opioids and the benzodiazepine.
Which is crazy because
Yep.
there's 60% of people in deaths from the combination of two.
Mhm.
That's a terrible combination. That's what killed my own niece when she was 30.
Oh,
It's
oh,
insane.
wow. Yeah.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
wow.
So now they've got you on all these meds. You're home
Mhm,
in a
mhm,
hospital bed. Are you able to
mhm.
get up at all, or you are totally in the bed?
No, I'm totally my husband was bathing me, um, Yeah, I
Let's
was
mention your husband, because the boyfriend, that moved you and the kids in becomes your husband.
yes, yes,
He's amazing, right?
yes,
This
thank you.
guy is amazing, so we gotta throw
Thank
that in
you.
there. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we got married in 2018. So this happened to me in 2020. So yeah, newlyweds and I was bedridden and hospitalized and yeah,
Oh,
good
wow.
husband.
So, yeah, good husband. So now in my notes, I want to get
Mhm.
into this, and I don't know if there's more in between.
Uh-huh.
At what point you're going to stop the opioids cold turkey? You're going to
Okay.
remove another half a milligram of Xanax. You stop
Right.
caffeine. You stop nicotine. You stopped
Yep. Yep.
medical marijuana and Wellbutrin XR. And I'm like, oh, what were your
Yep.
symptoms? I'm like, so it was
Yeah.
amazing what you did. And now what I don't have here, if you could put a part of this puzzle together,
Yep.
when do you realize, okay, I think I'm sick from the benzos too. So at some
Mhm.
point, this is now, are we into 2021 now when this happens? Because this all happened.
Yes.
Okay,
June
so,
14th of
okay,
2021.
all right.
Mm.
So let's go from there, all that
Yep.
they've got you on, and then one day, do you just wake up and say, "I'm done"?
Well, I woke up well, actually there was many days that I was just so sick of living like this. I had true neuropathy pain 24/7. We were calling it a failed surgery. I just like was so sick of being sick.
Mhm.
And I honestly was feeling that every time I was taking the benzo, I was feeling really I felt sick, but I was making me feel sicker. I can't really pinpoint the exact feeling, but I just June 14th, I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I honestly didn't care about anything. So I was like, if I suffer, I suffer. I don't care. I felt like, what do I have to lose? So I said, I'm going to stop because I was up to 6, 8 cups of coffee a day and 2 energy drinks. I was drinking Bang energy drinks. And I was using,
That would make me anxious.
yeah. And
Now wait, I
two,
have a question. So
mhm.
because you were doing all the healthy stuff, did you start all the smoking, and the caffeine and all that when you got injured? Because you were living a very healthy lifestyle prior to that.
The caffeine was for a very long time because of my daughter, trying to keep
Staying
myself
away.
awake to
Okay.
care for my daughter.
Mhm.
So the caffeine was that. The nicotine, no, that was new. I mean, it was new in a sense of I had quit years ago, but I was now using a jewel pod. Like, I was like craving nicotine. So, I had this little handy dandy nicotine, vape pen, and I didn't have to leave my bed. I couldn't leave the bed anyway. So, yeah. So I stopped using the nicotine and I stopped using the caffeine.
Mhm.
Um, June 14th of 2021, and the same day I stopped the medical marijuana and I stopped dilaudid and oxycodone the same day, and I stopped using naproxen the same day. And what else did I stop? Oh, not Xanaflex. It was Flexerol,
Mhm.
a muscle relaxer. And Wellbutrin XL was prescribed like a few months prior for nerve pain. They were trying to get the gabapentin prescribed to me, and I refused that. So I did say, all right, I'll do anything for the nerve pain. So yeah, so I stopped the Wellbutrin XL, and the same day I removed a half a milligram from the 3 milligrams of Xanax.
So, but now in the hospital, they had cut you down, right?
Right.
So,
Hmm.
okay. So now I can't even imagine how you feel giving up. Like, there are people, we tell them, don't quit everything at once, it's not
I
good.
just didn't.
And
Yeah, I
you
didn't
did it
care about
all.
anything anymore. I was
How did
just
you feel?
honestly, um, it. I was numb, like in my mind. I just because I was angry. To be honest, I was angry because I felt like I was missing the world.
Mhm.
Being stuck in this. My daughter was graduated high school. There was deaths in my family. My ex father-in-law had passed away, and 2 weeks later, my father-in-law passed away. And it was like life was just moving, and I just was angry. So it was numb in the head, and I honestly started feeling um, cold and a cold sweat, but in a weird way, it was refreshing. It was like I was just feeling like new. I didn't go through what people typically talk about. For withdrawal symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I had quit smoking cold turkey before in the past. I actually thought out of everything I was going to have the hardest time with the caffeine, to be honest.
Yeah.
um, but I was actually fine for a good 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then I got myself into these. I was never in a benzo group prior to that, and once I got into the benzo group, things changed of how I felt. And it wasn't so good because I got in my head reading negativity. And I was now in my regular bed, no longer my hospital bed. I was actually in my regular bed and I was moving again, like on my feet. I had a walker. And I also had a cane, but we were using the walker, and I was just going from the living room to where the hospital bed was to my bedroom. And, now I was just in bed for good, I would say 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, frozen in fear, basically, from reading everything. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I removed a 0.5 milligram and I should have done the slope. I didn't know because I didn't know any of this.
Well, here's a question. What made you quit everything but the benzo? Did you kind of know you better not quit that one cold turkey?
Yeah, I kind of had, I guess because I think about the time when I didn't take that medication
Right.
that time, with my friend and how I felt. But yeah.
Okay, good. So now you're reading online, you're seeing.
Hmm.
I remember when we were talking, it was like, you were afraid of, well, is the toothpaste I'm using bad? Should I not? Like you become so
Yeah.
fearful of
I was
everything.
afraid to eat. I lost, I lost 14 pounds the first week after being in the groups. And it was because I was speeding up. Like I was racing. My heart was racing because I was anxious because of everything I was reading between that
Hmm.
and also not eating because I was afraid to eat because it was like so much between what has histamines, what has glutamate, what can cause a trigger to, racing heart, and I'm lucky that I knew all the ingredients that, from
Hmm.
with my health coaching. So it was like, now I had to really revamp my entire lifestyle that I was so used to, the way of eating and ingredients. But I was just so afraid for a good week to eat. And, for 4 weeks, I just was afraid of everything I was reading. And yeah, toothpaste I didn't use the toothpaste. I no longer was taking my vitamins. Um, the littlest things, shampoo. I was afraid to wash my hair.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah.
really became fearful.
Yeah.
Very.
I think fear is one of the worst things when we're going through it.
Absolutely.
And look at here, you took such a good attitude when you wanted to get off everything else and get healthy. Then you go into groups for help, and they end up scaring the life out of you.
Right. Well, and it's my nature, my personality. I'm a very curious person. So, it's like I couldn't join enough. I was like probably in 15 groups at the
Hmm.
time. But I had the opportunity to meet someone in the group who became a very good friend, who is like one of my best friends right now. And she said to me, why don't you unfollow? And I'm like, what do you mean? And, try unfollowing the groups. And she's like, you could still have the group and you could go in there if you want to ask a question or if you wanted to go into search and put in a topic. But that way it's not in your newsfeed. So I did that and it was like, I was healed. I was like crazy. I like literally was like, nope, you're not. I didn't even go on Facebook, to be honest. The first, I was on Facebook maybe a few weeks after, but I took a social media break and it was the best thing because then all of a sudden it was like I had more energy. I actually felt so much better. And I really believe that, not just getting off everything that I got off of, but the benzo was like, now I was looking forward to getting it out of my life because I'm like, oh my God, if I feel this much better, can you imagine what I'm going to feel like with not being on it? And absolutely 100%, the lower I have gone, I am feeling better and better.
Right. The one thing people tell you is impossible, and yet it's very, very possible. So let's get
Absolutely.
into how you made a decision, which method you're going to use, whether, like there's dry cutting, there's
Right, right.
liquid, there's water titration, there's compounding, and you chose liquid water titration, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what made you did you kind of look at everything and say, this is how I want to do it? And did you learn that just kind of on the groups or just from, as you're getting benzo friends? What led to your decision? And did you
Um,
try anything else first and then went to water titration?
no, I mean, the first initial cut was, I removed a 0.5 milligram pill from the 3 milligrams.
Hmm.
So that was in June 14th of 2021.
Hmm.
So September of 2021 is when I started the water taper. And how I decided to do that was I was in the groups and I was putting in, search taper, 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 Xanax taper. I wanted to like do something that someone else possibly did, that
Hmm.
was successful. And I kept coming up with water taper. And I said, what is that? What is a water taper? So, I saw a video that had, that everybody shares in a group. I think it was Jocelyn.
Hmm.
And I saw that and I'm like, wow, that seems easy enough. And, I talked to the friend of mine who is very, very good friends with me today. And, she was doing the same method and tapering off of Xanax. And, she kind of got me started as far as like what I needed to purchase, how I should do it. And, she even taught me the math because I was like, how do I figure out I'm one who wants to know, like if my doctor or someone said, what is your, dose? What are you at today? I want to be able to tell that person, or I want to know what dose I'm at.
Right.
It's every day you're removing 1 milliliter more. So, yeah, so that's how I decided. I got everything I needed and I chose a date in September and I started doing the water taper.
Good. And, I will say this, I mean, I didn't get a chance there was no information for me, over 25 years ago. But Heather Ashton, when she came over to a conference in Canada where they were discussing the water titration,
Mhm.
she found it very interesting. She really liked it. And there are
Yeah,
people when they've tried one, two, three times to get off and they can't do it, when they've gone to water titration, they did very well. So I do think it's a great way. You don't have to pay for a compounding pharmacy, which is wonderful,
right.
So, although I always said I probably would have done compounding, but I wish I had the opportunity to do that. So I'm thrilled you did pick that method.
Yeah,
So
I am too.
now I want to get into your diet, like your daily routine, because we were talking about what your daily routine is every day.
Mhm.
Again, we know that some people listen to this, they are very sick, and it's hard when you are that sick, but you, at the very beginning, you take control of your health.
Right.
And I know there are some that, again, they've tried multiple times to get off. They end up having to go back on, and
Mhm.
then they will do, let's say, functional medicine, get their body healthy, and then they do what you're doing, and they are very successful. But let's just go for somebody who is new and they're, trying to learn what to do. What is your daily routine?
Well, daily, and I've been like this for a very long time, so it just didn't, I've been
Right.
eating healthy since 2017, but daily, I just eat real food. I don't eat anything packaged. I don't eat anything canned. Every ingredient has to be an ingredient I know. Nothing hidden, no hidden carbs, no hidden, you know, sugars like maltodextrin or dextrose.
Mhm.
Um, Natural. Organic is I eat everything organic. So basically for breakfast, I kind of switch it up. I do so many days of gluten-free oats, and I'll use cinnamon and chopped sprouted walnuts. Um, I'll add berries, strawberries or blueberries, and I change it up. Another few days I have eggs. I'll do scrambled eggs. I'll do omelets, spinach, kale. I don't do cheese. I don't use butter. Um, and more often now, I'm using like less dairy. And the only dairy I was using was like yogurt, but I'm using coconut yogurt now.
Hmm.
And I use almond and unsweetened almond milk. Yeah, so breakfast is pretty much the same. Lunch is, either salad, grilled chicken. Everything I do, I make fresh. I try to every meal I do like a healthy fat, a healthy carb, and a healthy protein. So basically, that's how my meals and I everything I eat too is with purpose. So basically, I had gone to a functional medicine doctor, so I knew my deficiencies, and that's when I said, "All right, I'm going to eat this because I need beta carotene, and I'm going to eat this because it has vitamin D." So that's how I did it.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
do beautiful. You post beautiful pictures. I love seeing them
Thank
every
you.
day. They're gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to mention your link tree.
Hmm.
If people want to go to your website, you have, in fact, I'm going to pull it up while we're talking.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, you put so much amazing stuff on there for people to go and really just, learn what you've done. And you've made it very easy for people. You have,
Right.
let me just see here because you've got a micro taper guide, you've got the water taper method video, you've got a printable dosing log,
Yeah.
another a journal, which I thought journaling was very important for me.
Hmm.
What's in the Jennifer's on the go bag? I haven't taken a peek at
Ah,
that.
yeah, I always have a bag ready just in case something unexpected happens. I
Hmm.
had lived in Florida for a period of time, and it was like hurricanes, so
Right.
just you never know. So basically I have in it is calculator, I have batteries, my extra, some medication, just a few pills, um and things for like to make a water bottle, and the cups that I use, and the shaker cup to make my if I had to make my doses up for the day.
So if
I
you got
dose 4
stuck
times.
out, like if you're out for the day and you didn't get home, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So if we go out, like my husband and I go out on our Sunday, like Sunday fun days, and I bring my bag with me just in case, like if we got a flat tire, at least I have the stuff with me.
right. So now, basically, when I was so sick, I always had to have water and a
Mhm.
banana or an apple, right, Garrett? They're like, oh, here she goes. She can't get in the car without something because your blood sugars, are not great. I mean, I was very sick when I came off.
Right.
You have another thing here, Jennifer's Adrenal Fatigue Guide, 5 ways to
Mhm.
heal adrenal fatigue naturally. I mean, this is really, wonderful stuff. 10 tips to help patients through benzo withdrawal. It just great stuff. So I want you to give
Thank
the
you.
link and then we will attach it, right, Garrett? Yeah. So give us the link because I never even, everybody knows I'm really not good with computers. I never even heard of Linktree before. So,
Yeah, I don't know the link, and
oh,
I mean,
okay. I think so. You go to https
mhm,
colon backslash linktree, which is linktr.ee /Jennifer Jennifer DeGuilio DeGuillio. So we'll put a link on it also for people. But I
yeah,
think it's worth it for people to go and look at what she does. And again, we're not saying that you're not going to get better unless you water taper. We're not saying unless you eat meticulous like this because we know there are some that are so sick
mhm,
and I know one guy, I thought he would die, and he ate whatever somebody brought him, and he still got better. So we're not saying you must do this. We're just trying
right.
to show you with a positive attitude and, that you do not have to suffer.
No.
And everything that you post. So I know you do go into the groups now because when I got back from meeting you when we were up in the Berkshires, which I
Mhm.
think we were both staying at the same hotel, right? And
Yeah,
and we missed each other. We were all there for
I
brunch
know.
that morning, and we left about an hour, I guess, before you. So that's too bad that I
Yeah.
didn't know you were staying there. But one of the days that it caught my attention, you wrote this long post, and if I wasn't sick, I'd probably read the whole thing. But
Mhm.
and you put here, these are like some little tips and things that you gave to people saying stay focused, surround yourself with
Mm.
positivity, be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace,
Yep.
self-care, self-love, rest when necessary, eat
Mhm.
clean, stay hydrated, limit your time on social media, do at least one thing for yourself every day, be patient, step into nature, breathe deeply, listen to your body, and believe in yourself, which I thought
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
came back into the groups and you just give really positive information to people. And,
Yeah.
this is what, this is what this is all about, helping each other. And so you just, you put out the pictures. Now, I don't know if the pictures just on your personal Facebook, or are you posting that in some of the groups?
The what?
Like
Which
the
pictures?
pictures of your foods or
I think I did once. I'm actually I'm friends with a lot of people now from the group. So, I leave everything public that if anyone's not friends with me on Facebook,
Mhm,
the food, it's Let Thy Food Be Thy Medicine. I have the album and it's public. So
mhm.
I've been posting publicly and doing like hashtags. So,
Okay, good,
yeah.
good.
But I believe, yeah, everybody, it's, it is all individual,
Mhm,
this journey, but I really do believe having a positive outlook and surrounding yourself with positivity is really important. It's good for your mental state. And, if anything, just, I know people that say to me, I can't even get out of bed. Now, I know what that's like, but, you know, just washing your face or doing something as little as that could, it doesn't have to be big. So doing one thing for yourself on a daily basis is important.
right.
And, if you feel better, do more than one, do two, three.
Yeah. And I mean, you're very good at doing a lot of this stuff yourself and taking care of your husband and the kids. But, there was somebody else that a lot of her friends didn't understand what she was going through, but she got one to cook this and one to cook that and drop it off
Mhm.
to her. They didn't want to see her, they didn't want to hear about it. But
Right.
you know what? If you're too sick, ask for help.
Yeah.
Really ask for help. Um, but anyway, let's talk about the documentary since we both saw it. What did you think of it? It was for me,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
wonderful seeing it on the big screen because I did get to preview it right beforehand,
It
on the
was
computer.
so,
But wow, yeah.
yeah, very powerful, very moving. And, my husband actually, he was crying. Um, you know, he actually texted me. He texted me while I got up to ask that question, and he texted me and it said, "Very proud of you. You just,
Uh,
get up and ask these questions." And I know a few people said to me, like, "Oh my gosh, you're tapering and you're here." I'm like,
right.
"Yeah, why?"
Yeah, I couldn't leave my house, because
Yeah,
again, you got information ahead of time. You knew this is why we don't want everybody to think you're going to be like me, stuck in the house, so agoraphobic because you can't
right.
even be left alone. That happened to me. So do I know that that's real? And I was trying to eat
Of
as
course.
healthy as could be. It didn't matter because there was no information for me back then. I came
Yeah.
off 3 milligrams in 4 months. Not a wise thing to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 milligrams of Ativan in 4 months, and if I could do it over again, I wish I went back on and worked with a functional medicine doctor back then. I had
Yeah.
one, but I was so sick, I couldn't even get out of the house to go, so, that is what it is. What can you say for, like, some closing words of encouragement, anything to say to people? And I have no doubt in my mind that when you're done, and I know you kinda have an idea in your head when you're gonna be done,
Mhm.
but no, nothing keeps you to it. We can all adjust as we go along. I have
Right.
no doubt you're gonna be fine. None. I
Yeah.
mean, you'll be fine. I know you've been waiting for the ball to drop because people are still saying
Well,
that.
I get a lot of messages, "Are you suffering yet?"
Yeah,
Like,
and that's interesting because I saw that you had written that one day, and there
mhm.
are actually people that get upset when somebody isn't sick. I mean, which is insane. You think they'd be happy for.
Misery likes company, Geraldine.
Ah, I don't understand it, and because my heart breaks for every single person suffering, and okay, can we help? What is it for them to make it start to feel better? Because even for me, when I started exercising, I had to start at 5 minutes walking slowly on the treadmill, and when I tell
Mhm.
you I could only add a minute at a time, that was it. It's like you had to crawl your way back to health.
Yeah,
So you got to start somewhere.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so people it amazes me that, yeah, people have said, "Yeah, well, you're gonna get sick," nothing like trying to put it on you, but, no,
Oh,
you're not gonna
yeah.
get sick. You are not gonna get sick.
No, and, I've been working. I actually make it a point every day to, not work with, but I there's, like, 20, I would say, maybe a little bit more, 25 people that are not doing so well. And I always go to like 5 a day. I do 5 a day. And
Hmm.
I message and I reach out and give some words of encouragement. And there's been people that say, "Oh my God, thank you. I needed that."
Yeah.
Um, you got to be patient. If I'm going to be suggesting anything, I would say be patient. You have to listen to your body, and you have to love yourself. Try to love yourself. You don't have to, but it helps the situation when you give yourself some TLC and some self-care, self-love, and breathe. You know, I find the smallest things now just so beautiful. And I don't mean to be like getting sentimental here, but
Yeah.
it's just like I could go outside and just like I find the beauty, and there's so much beauty in nature.
Yeah, I agree. When you go through something like this, it's the
Yeah.
small, wonderful, natural things that are the most important in life. It's not things at all. It's truly.
Yeah.
Yep. So great advice, and I really want to thank you for being on because you're just such an inspiration. And I hope people find your story fascinating. And for anybody getting ready to tape up, listen to her story over and over again.
I do want to say that
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm down to half a milligram
Wow.
from 3.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so I'm
That
doing good.
you're
So
doing very, very well.
there is hope. You don't have to suffer, and stay positive and
Yep.
reach out. If anyone wants to reach out, hit me up.
All right. They can find you on Facebook and they
Yep.
can find you on Linktree.
Yeah.
All right, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All
Thank you.
right.
I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Garrett. So we just finished the interview with Jennifer, which I know when we were up in the Berkshires, and we met her that night at the As Prescribed premiere. She was the first one to stand up and ask a question, which, I was so thrilled because that is like the $1 million question. Do you have to suffer when tapering? And she was doing fine, and people on the groups are scaring her, saying, it's going to hit her at some point, and I don't believe at all it will because over 25 years, I've seen those that took their health in control and a slow taper, and they, where they weren't thrown into a cold turkey withdrawal, but she took control over her health.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect that night when we showed up for the premiere, but it was interesting. It was like kind of getting to see our audience, our podcast audience, like in person a little bit. 'Cause I would imagine the two appeal to the same group of people. So yeah, when she stood up and asked the question, it was a shock to hear somebody ask like a kind of an on the nose kind of a question.
Right, and it's a question that she herself was getting scared and concerned, like, when's the ball going to drop? And it doesn't have to drop. That was the thing. And I said to her, no, you do not have to get sick. And then when when everybody was done asking questions and people were asking Holly questions, she came over to talk to me, and I was just so glad I got to meet her. And then little did we know, till we left the Berkshires the next day, we were all staying in the same hotel, and we were downstairs for breakfast. We must have missed each other by an hour, which stunk. That would have been fun to be with them, because I did meet with one of the boys I went to grammar school with. Him and his wife came up, and I got to spend time with him before we went to the premiere. And I really wanted to get this podcast done today, even though I'm sick, you're sick, I sound worse, because I may be leaving for Florida again on Tuesday if I feel well enough. And I felt it was important. Ever since I met Jennifer, I had sent her a message saying, hey, I see all this wonderful positive stuff that she posts. I'm like, would you do a podcast? I think people would love to hear that you don't have to suffer, how well she is actually doing. So she had agreed. And this was it today. I thought, if I don't come up tonight and do it with you, I'm not getting any better. And I'm like, just in case I left next week, I wanted this done today.
Yeah. So you want to talk about having COVID?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Tons of fun.
How you want to tell everybody how long you've had it now?
Let me see. Dad got it on July 3rd. And first we thought he maybe had a little too much to drink.
Yeah.
And then by the next day, he's still not feeling well. And then your sister said, I think you might have I think Dad has COVID. I'm like, oh, what? And so, sure enough, she went and got him a test, and he had it. And I immediately packed up my stuff and said, I'm out of here. I'm leaving the house. But it was too late. I mean, so he got it on the 3rd, but we didn't know till, what, the 4th or 5th. And then you got it next.
Yep, I got it Wednesday. So he was sick on the 4th. He had COVID. Like, you could tell he had it. I got sick Wednesday night. I started to get like a scratch in my throat, and then I started to get really tired. But we were passing a pretty big bill in the house on Thursday that I had to be in the chamber for. And so I was like, oh, let me just go to bed early. Maybe I'm just like a little run down. And then I woke up and full blown, I've got COVID, and I do not feel well.
Yeah, and I just started to feel bad on that Thursday, so I'm a day behind you. And I thought, oh, it's not that bad. I'm rushing around trying to get things done, knowing I'm going to be down for a few days. Now, Dad did, because of his health issues, he did get monoclonal antibodies, which I believe prevented him from it going deeper into his chest like we got.
Yeah.
So, fever for a few days, in bed. I think I can't imagine how many things I've watched. Well, I slept for a couple of days and then in bed. But I'm on day 12 or so with it now, and it's still in my chest, and no signs of it. Just loves me. So,
I feel like I'm better, but I still am dealing with, I don't know, like the aftershock of it. Like, I went and played golf last night. And normally playing 9 or 18 holes, like, it's not that big of a deal to me. By the 4th hole, I wanted to kind of go home. Like, I just was so tired.
Yeah. I'm at the point I don't have to take a nap anymore. But, I mean, I'm so used to just going, and it's really slowed me down. Yeah. So that stinks. And there was so much I wanted to get done before I left. A few podcasts and, knowing I'm going to be gone till September sometime. But now it looks like I won't be leaving until maybe I'll go sometime in August. I won't get on a plane congested. I just won't. And like I said, I've taken everything everybody's told me to take to feel better, and it isn't happening yet. But I'm just hoping with this podcast that we just did that for anybody who's getting ready, contemplating coming off your benzo, Jennifer's story is without a doubt just very positive. Go to her link tree, look at all that she put there. She makes it very easy so you don't have to, do all this stuff. And really, there's a lot of fear out there. And as she said, when she went into the groups, it scared her so much she got sick. And that is true. You're carrying on everybody else's fears. And, it's enough to just handle your own and to take that positive attitude, to not have that fear. So, yeah, I think it was a very good podcast for does everybody have to suffer? Which, no, they do not. And if somebody is really in the throes of hell, and we know that not everybody can eat right, we're not saying that this is the only way. There are, just like there's many ways to taper, there's many ways to eat, there's many ways to heal. There's a lot of different things on YouTube that you can learn to help with your anxieties, like emotional freedom technique, breathing techniques. And again, when we did the podcast last time with Beth, she said she was too sick to eat right. You just eat to survive. So we're not saying that this is the only way. We're just saying she took control first so that she has had a very positive outcome. All right. Well, I think that's it for this show, and I really appreciate your time, Garrett. Thank you.